The truth is that with all of the marketing whiz-bangy things that we all go to conferences to learn and all the automation and all the new tech, the best way to stand out is to be ourselves.
Totally. Yeah. And that's what the podcast, at least for, it's just like a case study to relate what you're saying is, since we've done this, every time we hop on a phone call with someone or meet one of our listeners at a conference, there's like, oh my God, you're the same person. Yeah. When I hear you there, like, it's like we already know each other, and there's no, like, you already knew the backstory of me having a kid and Matt doing his thing and
Matt doing his thing.
Matt being Matt.
Matt being Matt. But it's really cool if you can shine your personality and what you're putting out to the world. It just makes everything easier.
Yeah,
it does, and it's so much easier said than done. And
Sure.
That's like one of the things with the GFR commandments that you so proudly held up, that you've opted in for, and that I want everyone to grab if any of this resonates with them. The GFR commandments are the roadmap for getting real, and this isn't light, airy, fairy shit. This is like, okay, if you're up for it and you believe that your work is part of your personal evolution and that like doing your work depends on you getting real and getting out of your own way, I feel like, that's what this conversation can be about. That's what my show, the Get Fucking Real Show, is about. It's really acknowledging that there is struggle and we are at war with ourselves sometimes, and we aren't telling the truth sometimes to ourselves. And all of that, when confronted, that's when we can, quote unquote, get real and be ourselves in our marketing, which again is something that people they say authentic. It's like, what the fuck does authentic mean?
Yeah.
Like you have to figure that out. Who am I really? And it's so interesting. We're talking about parenting before we got started. Like my 14-year-old, I could see on a day-to-day basis where I could shut her light down and I could have her forget who she is and what she likes and what she doesn't like and what her personality is and all that so easily. And this is what we do in business. And God, this is my soapbox, which everybody should have one. What I actually teach it because I think people water it down, but this is my soapbox.
Yeah.
We're on it.
Yeah, that's okay.
So, I know I could speak for myself, and I know Joe's probably very similar in some respects, but we try our hardest to kind of be the same person on the podcast, on stage, when we go on other people's podcasts, when you meet us at networking events. We try, we're trying to just be consistent and let the normal just us flow out, but it's not always easy, right? Like just yesterday, I was actually being interviewed on another podcast, which is a very, very large podcast, and going on it, I knew, okay, this show is going to be heard by like 1 million people. And I was kind of freaking out knowing that this show was going out to a large audience. And I don't think the person that came out on that show is necessarily the same person that comes out on this show. And I'm not quite sure how to like bridge I mean, it's close. I think over the years I've done a lot of work, and it's gotten closer and closer and closer to like you're getting the same person no matter what. But there is still a little bit of a gap from the me that you see on stage, the me that's on this podcast, the me that goes on other large podcasts, or if I go on a small podcast, it's a different person than if I'm going on a very large podcast. So I'm trying to figure out like, what are some ways to kind of help bridge that gap and help you kind of be that consistent personality throughout.
What do you think? Can you articulate what you think the difference was in the Matt that was on the show yesterday and the Matt that's sitting here now?
I would say yesterday there was, going into it, there was a little bit more anxiety, just kind of knowing that this was going out to a very, very large audience, which is kind of funny because our show goes out to a pretty large audience and I don't really think twice about it. But when I'm going out to somebody else's audience, there's a little bit of anxiety that sort of leads up to that for me. So I don't know. It's interesting.
What did you feel that the audience might think about you that you weren't quite sure you wanted them to think?
I don't know. Probably. I mean, I do definitely know I struggle with imposter syndrome. Like probably.
Okay, so you thought they might find you out. You thought they might find you out.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, I know what I'm talking about, but a lot of times I don't feel like what I'm talking about has as much value as other people feel that what I'm talking about has value. So a lot of times I'll go into these conversations going, in my mind, oh, this is just basic shit. Like they already know all this stuff,
yes.
right? But while I'm on the show, they're acting, very impressed by what I'm talking about. But there's some uncertainty in my head around, is this really that valuable to this audience I'm talking to?
That's awesome that you can articulate that and connect with that. And you're going to love this, because I had a similar thing coming on this show.
Oh, wow.
Which it's going to make you laugh, right? Because you're like, it's just me, Matt and Joe. Like, who cares, right? And now I feel fine. But I had created a story in my mind, right? This is what we do, that like I've been on, 50 podcasts in just the last 6 months. And it's like, well, this one, I don't know. It's Matt and Joe. And they just had, the XYZ person on. And, I was looking at your lineup and I'm like, it's been mostly men. And I'm like a chick that, whatever. It's like, I created the story that for some reason this one was different. For some reason, my usual Lisa Cherney-ness wouldn't be enough or whatever. And that's what you did. It's like you created a story that like, this show is different with this particular and this audience, and and I love that we're talking about this, because like when I look at the GFR commandments, when like commandment number 11 says, embrace you're not the same person you were when you made those mistakes, and they will not repeat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the confession question, so each of the GFR commandments, it doesn't just have a commandment because I'm a trainer and a coach, like I have to get inside your head a little bit. It says, what past mistakes are causing me self-doubt now? It's like, I remember when I was on that stage like 20 years ago and I didn't know the answer to that question, or like shit just gets in our head and we let it sort of fester. And so, if we had more time and we could totally do this offline, it'd just be fun to be like, okay, well, where does that stuff come from? Yeah. And I'm not talking about psychotherapy. Like, it doesn't need to be that deep, y'all. It's just like, it's just in your life of your business. Where did you create a story that, like what a usual rap is fine here, but it's not for those people. I call them pedestal people, people that I put on a pedestal in some reason. I create a story that they're separate from me or better than me or whatever. And so it's really I hope everyone taking something from this is like going, yeah, I've done that.
Oh yeah. And just to close the loop on what Matt's story is, it's funny because I woke up this morning to the host of that show messaging both of us. I don't know if even Matt saw this yet. Yeah. And his message was, holy shit, your stuff is fucking dope. And he's like, I want to work with you guys. I'm like, yeah. So you did all right, man.
Well, I mean, one of the things about this show is like, I'm pretty much always real on this show. Like I talk about my vulnerabilities and anxieties and the stuff that I freak out about pretty constantly. And I'm pretty sure that's part of the reason people tune in, is because people go, I feel that shit too.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's definitely for me, on shows that I feel like I go on pedestal, or speaking on stage. I mean, speaking at TNC coming up at the end of March here, and like we're 6 weeks out from, I'm already starting to get like anxiety about like, oh shit, we're going to be on that stage. And the funny thing is we're going on more stages before that, but I'm not anxious about those stages. I'm anxious about the TNC stage, which is 3 stages later.
That's a good point.
Totally get it. Absolutely, totally get it. And when we are at a certain season in our mission-based business, our own personal evolution, like the game it gets higher and higher, right? It's the peeling of the onion, as they say. And so core shit that didn't come up, 5 years ago, now you're pushing the envelope in your business and the stages and the people. And so now new insecurities, yay, are coming up, and that's the journey. And when I was preparing for the show and you guys had asked in the prep questions, what are the mistakes that I made along the way? For me, it is often not being up for the game that is more serious about about my own process and confronting myself, actually the better results I'll get in my business.
Yes.
And anytime I forget about that, that's when I let go of a 7-figure business in 2014, because I feel like there was a bit of unconsciousness that was happening. And I was getting so wrapped up in getting to that 7 figures and getting that t-shirt, which by the way is all I have from that now is the t-shirt.
Yeah.
And so, we need to stay noticing. So I love that you have TNC, and I would invite you to just be like, all right, what's this shit about, Matt? what's the story I'm telling myself? Why do I feel like this is where, whatever.